Hello everybody, this is Professor Ramey and welcome to your online history class for fall 2019. This is just a short introductory video to go over the syllabus, coursework, expectations, yada yada yada, and really just to familiarize yourself with the course at the beginning of the semester. It's a 16-week course. It seems like it's going to be an eternity here at the start. I assure you one thing. It'll be over before you know it, and the most important thing in any online class is hitting the ground running, making sure you got your time management taken care of, and just knowing what you're going to do straight from the start. So I like to make these little videos to go over everything, even things that seem obvious, right? We'll go ahead and talk about them. Now I'm teaching 2 online classes this semester, both a 1301 and a 1302, and instead of making 2 videos, I decided I could put them all together into one. For the most part, the assignments are the same, the due dates are the same, the coursework is the same. The only thing that's obviously different is the material we'll cover and one of the texts. I am filming this inside the living room of my house in the evening, so there might be a few distractions. You might see my wife run by, you might see my son run by, maybe a dog or a cat. That's okay. We'll make sure to introduce them and let them say hi to the camera if that's the case. Well, hey, welcome in. I don't typically teach online classes at HCC. I'm more of a face-to-face prof. Been here for over a decade now, and this is actually the first online class, or the semester I've had online classes at HCC. I've taught them before at Lone Star, and and I understand the online environment. I'm actually a big supporter of online learning, and I think done well, it can be very effective. But it is certainly outside the mold of how I usually teach my classes. And one of my goals in an online class is to try to take what I think I do pretty well in my face-to-face, and merge that into the online environment. But there'll be some growing pains, there'll be some issues, I'm sure, along the way, but we'll do the best that we can with it. All right, so let's get rolling, just so this video doesn't go on for over an hour or something like that. Let's make it kind of short. The first thing I want to do is just kind of go over the syllabus, right, step by step. Not all 11 pages, but we'll go through the important parts in there. If you'd like to follow along, go ahead and open it up, and if not, just sit back, get a cold beverage, and listen. So on the first page of the syllabus, we have my contact information, email, phone number, all that stuff, right? Here's the truth. I'm probably going to go this entire semester, and I will never personally meet a single one of y'all, right? I mean, if you do run into me and you recognize me, if you do have some on campus, that's great. In fact, I hope so. But the beauty of an online class is you could be taking this class right now, and you could be in Japan, right? You could be in Nigeria. You could be in Canada. It doesn't matter, right? All the coursework will be done online, submitted online, taken care of online, and so there's never any need for direct communication or personal contact. But if you choose to, if you really want to see me or introduce yourself or stop by, I do have my office hours and my office location. It is at the Felix Fraga campus in East Downtown, and I will typically be there on Monday and Wednesday afternoons, right? If you are going to stop by, make sure to make an appointment, right? My office is in a bit of flux as I'm switching over from Northeast campus to Southeast, but there you go. Also listed, and only listed, well, this will be for the beginning of this class. Well, I'll tell you when this is going to change, but until my office is situated, I needed a way for you to contact me besides just email. And so up there where it says office phone, that's actually not my office phone. That's actually my cell phone right here. This goes straight to that i7 that you use it. I posted it there for it to be used, right? If you have an emergency, there's something that needs an immediate response, I don't mind you sending me a text message or giving me a phone call. I would say, if it's possible, if it's something that can be answered through an email or a Canvas inbox, why not do that instead? But if it's something urgent, right, you back over in the driveway and kill your grandmother or something on the day of an exam, you need to send me a quick text, that's fine. Kill grandma, I missed the exam, something like that. But once again, if it's something like what's a due date, or you're going out of town or something, just pop me an email. Now there's two ways to do that. Right there I have you, michael.ramey@hccs.edu, and you can use the Canvas inbox. As far as functionality goes, they're exactly the same. They both go straight to my HCC email. The only difference is how I respond to them, and both are acceptable. So that's where we're going to be conversing a lot, right? And that's where most of the problems in the class will be taken care of, is through the email. I'm pretty good about my email. During the work week, I know it says on there that I'll respond to emails within 24 hours. The truth is I'll respond to them a lot sooner than that, 99% of the time. On the weekends, I'm trying to be good about it. The emails do go to my phone and everything, and we have some due dates and assignments that are due on the weekend. So on the weekend, I'm not going to be as responsive maybe every day, but I will try to be constantly in contact. If a day goes by and you haven't heard from me, that probably means there is a problem with the email communication. And send me it again, or send me a text, or give me a call or something like that, okay, if you haven't heard from me. Okay, now, here you go on the next two seconds. What's exciting about this course and my personal welcome. HCC recently changed the syllabi. They wanted a uniform syllabus for every professor that teaches. They thought that, old syllabi were just too cold. They're too legal. You read this document, and it was just, it just read like the Ten Commandments or something. And so they said, we want more open and welcoming syllabi. And so they wanted us to put in what's exciting about this course and my personal welcome to you. And so I had to sit there and I was like, well, what is exciting about this course? And then I wrote that. And you know what? Turns out, as I was writing it, it is true. I like my job. I like teaching history. I am excited this semester. Your mileage may vary. I know some of y'all reading already through your textbook or your that first assignment that you had to complete about the text materials. Some of y'all are excited. Some of y'all have a little bit of trepidation. It should be fun. We're going to try to make this class fun, and I get excited at the beginning of every semester. I really like teaching. I really like talking history. The challenge in an online class is, when we don't see each other, we're not coming to lecture twice a week, how much of my own experience and my own stories can I impart, and how much of it is self-learning. It's kind of flip-flopped, right? But nonetheless, we're going to try to make the most of it, and I want to do a few of these videos throughout the semester just to check in and make sure everything's going well. And I do welcome you personally. Absolutely. Let's have some fun. Right. Prereqs, co-reqs, if apparently you have to have taken English 1301 or be enrolled in it. If somehow you got in this class and that doesn't apply to you, you beat the system. Fantastic. Let's go. Eagle Online, Canvas. Hey, you're in an online class that uses Canvas. I'm assuming that you can get to Canvas. But if you can't, then it'd be impossible for you to see this video. So if I say something like, if you cannot get into Canvas, please contact me, it's actually kind of a waste, because you would never see this video in the first place. But if somehow that does apply to you, you have a friend that shows you this video, and you can't, please get a hold of me. We'll get you in, or not. All right, and then all that. The gradebook tool. Actually that is kind of, I'll make this announcement now, and then I'll make it 48 more times this semester, because I guarantee you, one of you, maybe not you, but somebody else, but one of you, or let's be honest, 20 of you are going to send me an email later. You're going to say, Ramey, why does Canvas say my grade is this, but when I average it, it says it's this? And my answer will be exactly what it says here. The gradebook tool in Canvas may not, and in fact it will not, accurately reflect your current or final course grade. Consult your syllabus and your assignment grades to calculate your course grade and speak with the professor if you have questions. Right? You kind of have to calculate your own grade as you go on. It's very simple, but you kind of have to do that until the very end when it's calculated, because it's a point system, right? It's not an average system. It's not a percentage system. And because you're constantly collecting points, your final average is always in flux. But it's real easy to determine where you're standing in the class as you go on. And, I think you'll get it. But if you do have any questions, just let me know. All right. Now, perhaps the second most important part of the syllabus, the instructional materials, like what the fuck do I need to get, right? Section. And here we go. Your textbooks. Now, I traditionally at HCC teach low-cost and Z-degree classes. I know Canvas says it has the Z-degree emblem there. It's not technically a Z-degree course. It's really close to it. But what a Z-degree means is zero cost. Once you pay tuition and enrollment and all that, there's no cost for course materials. That is nearly true in this class. I could have saved myself a lot of time and effort and just gone with the McGraw-Hill or Norton textbook and use their online platforms, but I don't like textbooks. I don't like textbook companies, I think is really what it is. I don't like the fact that they charge absurd amounts of money for a product, and then the product's still perfectly fine at the end of 16 weeks, and yet when you go to return it or turn it back in, they say the product is worthless, right? Because they want you to buy a new one next semester, or they want the next round of students to buy a new one. I think it's a little bit of gouging. I think it's a little bit predatory, hitting people that do not have a lot of money, most likely, right? Because if you're rich, well, I don't know why you're in college anyways. But to keep the course costs low in this wonderful internet age, there are plenty of what we call OERs, or open educational resources, that are very, very good, that don't cost a dime, and we're going to make use of those when we can. In particular, our two textbooks. Really, we have one. Our main textbook is OpenStax, U.S. History. The link is on the syllabus. That is where you can download the PDF if you want and have it stored on your computer. You can always access it online. And there's myriad ways that you can use it. It is very good. It is written by a collaboration largely of professors from Rice University, but a few other people around the nation have chipped in. It's a darn good textbook. I mean, if they printed it out and published it, it'd be right up there with Give Me Liberty, or right up there with The American Promise. I think that's the McGraw-Hill one. It's a great textbook. It's fine. And you sure can't beat the price tag. Occasionally, I might reference you to the American Yawp, and I'll give you the direct links when I do. One downside of OpenStax is it doesn't have primary sources and secondary sources, or as many of them the American Yawp does. So when I want you to read a primary or secondary source, I will reference you there. Which means that the only course material that you have to purchase is the monograph. Now, I'll say monograph a few more times. After that, I'll probably start referring you to a book, because nobody knows when I say the word monograph, and what the fuck does that mean? A monograph is just a book about a particular or singular topic, right? It's a book that you're going to have to read throughout the semester. We'll be reading it together, actually, near the end. It is not imperative that you buy this immediately. 1 second. Annie, your water's boiling. Those would be a few distractions. My wife is burning down the house right now. But there are, you will have to purchase one of these. Now, if you're my 1301, this is the book that you will need to purchase, is Empire of the Summer Moon by S.C. Gwynne. It is about the Comanche Indians, right? And a little bit of Texas history, Western Texas history. If you are in my 1302 class and I grabbed the wrong copy, I don't have the copy in front of me, and I'm not going to stop the video, you need to purchase Erik Larson's book, Isaac Storm. I grabbed the wrong Erik Larson book. Don't get Devil in the White City. Isaac Storm. It is about the Galveston hurricane in 1900. So both books are a little bit of local Texas history. Both of them are very interesting. And I pick them because they're both actually good books, and for the most part, I think you'll enjoy them. Your mileage may vary. You might freaking hate them. I try. What can I do? Some people like the Kardashians, right? Everybody has different taste. Anyways, you have to purchase that. I would suggest, it's just a suggestion, is that you know how it goes in a semester if you've been in college before. the beginning of the semester, in the first few days, you got all this excitement, you got all this energy. This is the semester, I'm going to do it right. No more screwing around, right? I'm going to study, I'm going to get on top of things, straight A's. And that's how you feel the first few weeks. You go into class, and you're paying attention to your online class, you start reading the textbook, you're doing your quizzes, and you're just got all that energy. Then October comes. I'm like, oh man, I barely even started, right? History class, that energy kind of fades. And then it's November, and you're like, oh my God, I still got another month of this class, right? I'm going to do. And then before you know it, it's December. And you're like, oh shit, I still have tons of work to do, right? I barely even started in this class. What am I going to do? Let's not get in that situation. Right now, when you have your energy, when you have your enthusiasm, go ahead and get the book. Go ahead and buy it. You can purchase this at the bookstore. They will upcharge you, absolutely. The bookstores want to make money too. So they'll charge you probably about $15-20. I'm not sure exactly what it is at the HCC bookstores. But if you have financial aid concerns or something like that, go to the bookstore. However, it is purchasable. Both of these books are purchasable. Once again, if you're in 1301 Empire of the Summer Moon, 1302 Isaac Storm, you can purchase them at Amazon, BarnesandNobles.com, Half Price Books. In fact, I think that's where I got this one, at $8. You can purchase them in a lot of places. You can even get an audiobook. I do not mind the fact that if you use an audiobook to, quote, read the book, just be careful if that is the route you go. If you decide to do the audiobook, and Amazon has this program called Audible, where you can actually get one of these books where you can get it for free if it's your first time signing up for it. Just be careful if you do go the audiobook route, because when it comes time for the assignments based off the books, it's hard to move back and forth between an audiobook to find. Audiobooks don't tell you page numbers. They don't give you specific chapters. It's difficult to navigate, right? The benefit is it's low cost or free, or you can listen to it. The downside is that it's difficult to navigate, and let's face it, you turn on an audiobook, and if you're not into the material, you probably tune out about 5 minutes into it, right? So it's there. I will have no idea if you use the audiobook route. Just keep that in mind. I think the best idea is to get the physical copy, right? And there'll be more postings and relevant reading, when to start reading and what to read, and you can restart at any time, right? But the time when the assignments will have relevant due dates, and that's not really until we get into November and December. So you do have a bit of time to require those. Okay. Other than that, I'll provide everything, right? And so those are the three course materials. The most important one right now, of course, is just make sure you have access to OpenStax, which, as long as you have access to a web browser, you do. Okay. Tutoring, library, supplemental instruction, course overview, all that stuff. Yeah, it's great stuff. We had to put it in there. And all of that stuff's fine. If you want to read through it, go for it. Student success, sure. It's read the textbook. That probably helps in an online class where you're basically going to learn from the textbook. Probably helps to read it. Regularly checking in online, sure. Completing assignments, yeah, that's probably important. Participating in class activities. I guess that means discussion board stuff. You should do that. There is no shortcut for success in this course. Probably are some shortcuts, but let's do it the easy way. It requires reading and probably rereading, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, you look through all that. Now let's get to the second most important part. Really why you're probably tuning into this is to go over the assignments. Each of these assignments will explain more. Many of them will have their own separate video. Every major assignment, like I will have a separate video on the historical fiction, a separate video on each of the discussions, a separate video on the argumentative essay, and maybe on the midterm and final essay. It just depends on if I can merge those into the discussion essays, which is probably most likely. But might as well look at them right now. I designed this course. I kind of designed it the way I would like to take an online class. I look at it that way. And what I decided to do is break the class into 4 smaller units or 4 little chunks, right? And every unit or every chunk of the class is similar, right? They're going to have a set of assignments that are due, and then boom, that unit's done. We'll move on to the next one, right? And they all have basically their end date that you can see on the calendar. These assignments in every unit, there's going to be textbook readings that have a chapter quiz at the end. These are very, very easy. I fully expect many of y'all, if not all of y'all, to make hundreds on every one of these quizzes. They're pretty straightforward. They're open book. They just check to see if you have read the textbook, right? And you'll have between 5 or 6 of these each unit, depending on how many chapters we go through. After that, right, you will have a discussion. And I will probably make a video before each of these. In fact, I almost surely will, where I talk about those chapters of the textbook. And at the end of that video, I ask a few questions open for discussion. You take one or more of those questions and you write a short discussion based on it, right? On the discussion board. Now that's part of it. Part of your score comes from what you write. I don't need you to write a huge essay on here. I mean, you can if you want. But 2 or 3 paragraphs I think is probably good, depending on what you think a paragraph is. But I just want you to fully answer one of the questions I pose. And then I want you to, after that, once you reply, other students' replies will be posted. And you have a week within that time to read other students' replies and reply back to one. Now, what am I looking for in the replies? I mean, it's kind of subjective, but to say what you agree or disagree with what they are saying, because all these questions are not going to be straightforward. They're not going to be a yes or no answer. They're going to be argumentative, right? They're going to have things that we can debate. That's all history really is a debate, is perspective. And, share your perspective, share your ideas. What I don't want you to do is just write I agree or I disagree, right? I want you to actually have some kind of thought. And we take those two together, and that will be your discussion score. Each discussion, there'll be 4 discussions. Each one is worth 50 points. So we got our chapter quizzes, right? With the questions. Each of those questions will be worth 1 point. Right, every single one of them. By the end of the semester, you will have answered 200 questions, and that'll be your full 200 points there. And then at the end of each unit, we'll have a discussion, and that discussion will be worth 50 points. And then at the end of each unit, we will also have one major assignment, well, basically one essay. Right, at the end of Unit 1, we have our historical fiction, where you're going to create your own story based off some facet of history that you find interesting. You can go out and research it, learn more about it, and then tell your own story. A fictional story, a made-up story, right? An original story, an original creation. I'll explain more about that in the video, but there's a reason I do that. It might seem like a weird assignment, but there's a reason I do it that way. So that's the end of Unit 1. So you'll have, I think it's 5 chapter quizzes in Unit 1, and then a discussion, and then the historical fiction. And then Unit 2, like 4 or 5 chapter quizzes, a discussion, and then our midterm essay, where I'll post different prompts, probably 3 or 4. You will choose one of those prompts you think the best answer, and then in a 3+ page essay, fully answer that question, right? And so Unit 2 is very similar to Unit 1 and Unit 3, right? It's the same thing, except you'll have your chapter readings, you'll have your discussion, but then you have the argumentative essay, where you're going to use these primary and secondary sources I provided to answer a question that does not have a correct answer. And then finally, Unit 4, which we're done with the chapter quizzes at that point, and that's when we move on to our monograph, right? And we start reading the monograph together, and I ask questions about the monograph that serve as your chapter quizzes. Then we have a discussion based on the monograph, and then we have our final essay, which will cover the end of the textbook learning and also the monograph, right? On the final essay, you'll have multiple prompts to choose from. You pick the one you think is the best answer and write an essay. And that's the class. So if you think about it, there's actually no exams in the class. There's no way, where you're going to sit down and have to do an exam. You have your quizzes, but that's kind of different. Instead, you're going to be communicating largely through the discussion board and through essays, which some of y'all probably say that's fantastic. Some of y'all are like, Shit. Just understand that this is a history class, not an English class. What I mean is, when I grade essays and when I grade discussions and such, I don't necessarily grade you on your command of the English language, right? I don't care so much about form. I'm much more into function. I don't care so much about how well you write. Instead, I focus on what you're actually trying to say. But on the same token, it still is a college class. There is some expectation of professional work, of proofread work, of quality work, right? So think about it this way. When you write an essay, unless you're just strapped for time, you just forgot about it, you just got to get something in, that happens, right? And you fully expect what happens after that. Give yourself some time, though. Never turn in an essay that you haven't at least proofread once. And the best way to do this is actually to write your essay, a couple of days before it's due, and let it sit for a day. Like, forget about it for a day, and then come back a day later and read through it. And it's amazing when you come back to something fresh, you see things that you might have missed, right, or things that didn't make sense, or such. But regardless, give yourself enough time to fully answer the questions, to fully, to explain your thoughts, and to make sure, if you're getting a lot of blue lines and green lines by Microsoft Word, hit F7, right? Do some double checking. All right. And after that, going on, how do we determine what you really want to know? Like, how do I get my grade I want? Rami, what the hell? Well, you just look at this. And every assignment in this class is worth 200 points, right? The total of all your quizzes, each quiz question is worth 100 points, or 1 point, and then we'll have 200 of them. I might make some more than one if, I think they're bigger. They're all multiple choice, right? But so you have your quiz score, 200, right? Your historical fiction, 200. Your discussion, 4 of them worth 50 points each, 200. Your midterm essay, your argument of essay, final essay, they're each worth 300, right? Then you add them all together, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. My math is correct. That is 1,200 points. So how do you determine your average? You take your points that you have earned and divide it by 1,200, and you will get a percentage, right? And you just put it into that. Rounding and stuff like that, guys. I round up and all that, but I do have a firm line. I mean, look, if you make like an 89, I'm kind of an asshole to make an 89. I'm not going to round it up to an A. But just understand this. I have to have a line somewhere, right? I have to have a line somewhere. And that line is 89.0. I know, that sucks. If you make an 88.8, you're like, whoa, wait, I'm so close. Gotta have a line somewhere, right? Otherwise, everything would be an A. So that line is the 9, right? And if you average it out, right, 89 to 100, right, is an A. 79 to, I guess, 88.9 is a B, and et cetera, down there. Okay. Then you look at the course calendar. I'm going to try to stick to those. I don't like changing due dates on an online class. In a face-to-face class, I'm more comfortable doing it because we see each other all the time. I don't like doing it because somebody else set your schedule early on. So I'm going to try to stick to those. The historical fiction, the first unit's over on September 25th, which is like 3-4 weeks, right? I mean, it's a 16-week class divided into 4, every 4 weeks. With our discussion prompt due 3 days before then, and then the piece of historical fiction. So I'm going to try to get that video out to you soon. By the end of this week, the historical fiction video will be out. Unit 2, the end of that one's October 20th. Just understand the reading quizzes are due before. So in Unit 1, the reading quizzes are due September 18th. Well, why do I do that? Because I want you to have read the chapters before we have the discussion, right? And I want you to have the discussion sometimes before we do the essays. September 18th, you need to have all the first 5 chapter reading quizzes done. September 22nd, the first discussion done. September 25th, historical fiction. Then we move to Unit 2. The due dates are the reading quizzes October 12th, second discussion due by the 16th, and the midterm essay is due by October 20th. Notice I'm saying by. You can always turn things in early. As long as I have opened it, right, you can turn it in early. So I'm going to open, well actually they already opened, the reading quiz is open tomorrow or at midnight, basically in like 4.5 hours. You can start immediately. I mean, you could have all 5 of your first reading quizzes done by the end of this week. And then, you know, you have a couple weeks to do whatever you want. That's fine. Go at your own pace. You can go at your own pace up until the due date. I would not start any major essays until I post a video. In fact, you can't. I'm going to have it where the video comes that opens it up, right? But you can start preparing for all these things and do them ahead of time. And you can look through this, right? So Unit 3, the key dates, the quizzes on the 13th of November, the discussion on the 16th of November, and the argument of essay on the 20th of November. And then finally, Unit 4, monograph quizzes are due on the 7th, discussion due on the 10th, and the final essay, the end of the class, is December 12th, right? December 12th is the final day of class, and that's when everything's due. And if we get it all done, I should have your grades posted by Friday the 13th. All right. Anything else in here? Syllabus modifications? I hope I don't have to change anything. Oh, yeah, here's one. Academic dishonesty, plagiarism, and cheating. I'll make this announcement now. I know it's already 30 minutes into the video. I'm trying to wrap it up. I am. But I do need to make... Oh, if you're still listening, and you should be, I want to make sure this is clear. So look in the camera. Look me right in the eye. First of all, it's very hard to cheat in this class because it's all open book, right? And there's no really exams. So as for cheating, like, you know, I don't know. I'll call up your friend and say, hey, what'd you write for the answer on this reading quiz? Who cares? You should be making hundreds on the reading quizzes anyways. They're open book, right? And they come straight from the chapter. In fact, before you even take the quiz, oh yeah, we're going to mention this. I just take the quizzes from the end of the chapter. It has these review questions. I just take some of those questions and put them in there. I mean, so you, before you even open the quiz, you're going to know what the questions are. There's really not an excuse. I mean, if you miss a question, that's fine. But, you know, it's not a big deal. The only type of cheating I get in online classes, and it is a plague, it is big, it's a bad deal, is plagiarism. I am probably going to post something that goes over plagiarism because I realize that I might have some students in here. This is your first time in college. It might be your first semester in college, your first college class you took online with me. Oops, sorry about that. Guys, plagiarism is a big deal. It is a very big deal. It is. See, even Lizzie. Lizzie thinks plagiarism is a big deal. Lizzie, come here. Tell me why plagiarism is a bad deal. Don't do it. If you're not sure what it is, we'll go over it in more on the assignments, but it is taking somebody else's work and passing it off as your own. And everything that I'm like, you know, here's the thing about plagiarism? It's so simple to counteract. Sometimes you have to use other people's work. All you need to do is cite it. But then sometimes, of course, you get the other type of plagiarism where you're rushed. You don't know, you don't think you're going to finish your assignment, or you don't think your assignment's going to be good enough, or you're just freaking lazy. And you say, well, fine, I'm going to go to essays.com, or I'm going to go to this. You do that, you're going to get caught. It's going to happen, and you're going to pay the penalty. And the penalty, honestly, the penalty for plagiarism in this class is an F in the class. It's as simple as that. If you plagiarize, you failed the class. Just don't do it. I don't want to come down hard. I don't want to end the video like on this negative note. Just don't do it. If you feel like you're about to plagiarize, you know what you do? If an assignment comes up or an essay comes up and you just don't have time to finish it, and you think your only options are, oh my God, I got to take somebody else's and pass it off my own, or do that. Send me an email. Send me a text. Say, Ramey, I got behind. This is where I am. I'll probably give you an extension because I'm a big softie. Just be honest about that. I know my words and my syllabus make it sound like I'm not, but I'd rather give you an extension. I might take a few points off for being late. It's not fair to everybody else to turn it on time, but I'd rather you do that than cheat. Anyways, let's not go down that road. Attendance procedure, it's online class. Log in every now and then. Good work. All right, guys. Campus carry. Hey, you're at your house. Carry all you want. Title IX. Yep. We'll everything about Title IX is true. We'll fully enforce that. ADA paperwork. Guys, if you have ADA requirements, once again, it's an online class that we don't ever go up to campus, but nonetheless, there could be things. And actually, I can think of a few in an online class. And if you have that, please let me know. Please let me know. I will go above and beyond. Absolutely. I just need to know what they are, right? And usually that requires some kind of paperwork. If you're listening to this right now and you're like, what is ADA? Then it doesn't apply to you, so who gives a shit? But if it does apply to you, let me know, right? And I will make all due arrangements, absolutely, and even probably go beyond that. Okay, anything else? I can't think of it. Probably 100 things, but I can't think of it now, and this video has gone on long enough. Guys, welcome to the class. Hope we'll have a wonderful semester together. I'll make a few more of these videos, right? And just let me know if you have any problems. Oh, in the meantime, make sure you have introduced yourself on the discussion board. Make sure you have done the textbook assignment, which I think is due on Wednesday, the 28th. Other than that, though, kick back, relax, and your reading quizzes will open tomorrow, August 27th. Bye for now.